Another feature showing these is that you can do a little bit of an adjustment on the shell length, basically how much room you'd have between these clips. You see these holes right here? You can move the clip holders, the shell holders I should say, those clips down a little bit, and get a little bit tighter gap between here and here, and you can do that. There's two positions for the top and bottom, so that does give you a range of how you might want them based on your hand size. You can see there, my hand fits in there pretty easily, but if someone was a little bit smaller hands, maybe they'd want it a little bit closer together in order to get that grip. They come out of here pretty easily. The nice things about these, you can see, I talked earlier about having that wall thickness, only one wall thickness of that shell clip between there. That means my hand very easily goes around here, and I can basically cover both of those with a thumb and pull them out, and I've got a good grip on those. I've used some other products where the shells were farther apart, and as a result, I was having to grab basically like this coming out, have a thumb over on one, the other shells are out here a little bit farther, so you're kind of like more like your hand's a little bit more open. You don't have as good of a grip. And as I've mentioned in some other quad loading videos, the big thing I found for getting smooth and consistent loads is really nailing that grip. After that, getting the shells in the gun usually isn't too big of a deal, doing it quickly, but it's really getting a good grip and consistently getting it, and not having the shells split away from you. Even if you flick your wrist to do that, sometimes you get them misaligned in there. So having your hand a little bit tighter around them so far is working out well for me, and not having those shells basically cave on you and split. So a little bit easier to get in the gun. Now when you're looking at your belt setup, the nice thing about these being easily adjustable is based on where I have them on my belt, I can change the angle of these a little bit. And we'll get to a better view of that in a little bit here. But if I clip these on, I've basically got my belt in I've got these in the front of my belt. This would be my midline. The angle of this is a little bit different to this. And we'll go over that in a little bit here. Okay, one feature I like about these carriers quite a bit is the amount of adjustability in the angle that they have. For me, I like when I bring my hand down, it's at a natural angle. I'm not having to cock my wrist, in a real vertical manner, or coming down like this to get the shells out, because that's just throwing off my grip. If I could just lay my hand down and they're right at that angle, and I can just pull the shells out just like that. And as I move around my belt, using weak hand, I've still got my gun, my shotgun, strong hand, I've got it flipped. Same thing, as I come around my belt, just lay my hand right down here. It's at an angle I want, so the grip just comes right there, and I pull the shells out, load them in. As I come farther back, that angle's changed. It gets more vertical because my arm position is changing as I come around. Some people are gonna wanna load shells over on this side and be able to flip and go strong hand. That's a personal choice, not my style, as I want to leave this area all clear for my pistol holster. If it needs to come off for a particular stage, it's all shotgun, then so be it. But you have to adjust to the particular stage. I've got a FN SLP here. I've got I can fit 12 in the tube, so that gives me a lot of extra rounds, less loading in the course of a stage. Less loading means more shooting, means save time on the clock. So we've only used the shell carriers a little bit last night when I first mounted up. I gave them a quick test. This is my first run of tonight, so let's see what we can do time-wise. I've got the timer set at 4.3 to get 12 shells in the gun. So we're just gonna go right at it, and warm up is overrated, I guess. So a little slower in 4.3 there, dropped one shell, but getting that grab worked out really well. I didn't fumble any of the grabs there, and so let's keep working it and getting used to these carriers. so far pretty happy with them. Okay, that's a quick look at the Invictus Practical 2.8 quad load shell carriers. Nothing but good things to say about them so far. Obviously a lot more time on the range needed with them, a lot more match conditions and practice conditions, but the build quality is superb. The versatility is superb. Thumbs up so far. So go check out invictuspractical.com. Have fun and be safe out in the range.